government's kabhi haan kabhi na moment. So in August this year, the government shocked sellers of IT hardware like laptops, PCs, tablets, etc. by announcing import restrictions and licenses. It then softened its stand and said that this is not exactly license, Raj, but just ensuring that hardware imported should come only from trusted partners. Government didn't qualify what trusted partners are. And government said that it just needs to be in the know of what is being imported into India, from where, in how much quantity. In parallel, there was a short deadline that the government started for hardware PLI applications, which got opened and received about 40 entries just in the nick of time for companies who want to manufacture manufacture IT hardware in India and avail of that very lucrative subsidy scheme of the government. In between all this, the government also pushed the deadline on import restrictions just once to 1st of November. Now, to the relief of some, the government has cancelled this restrictive imports altogether. Is this really policy flip-flop, Rakesh, or did the government really set very, very impossible deadlines to meet and realize that, it's not wise to reintroduce license, Raj, it's not right to be restrictive. Yeah. And even if you want to get there, we've got to be more reasonable with our timelines.
Absolutely. But, you have to see it in context, Karthik, what is happening all around the world in the global economy space. Free markets is now, end of the world. Okay. I mean, there is the passage for free markets globally is over. So each country, this happened in COVID with the vaccine apartheid. Increasingly countries are looking inwards. They make tall claims about, globalization, but when it comes to their interests, they're quite pronounced about it. I do remember early 90s, America was, the most developed economy, pushed for its companies like Boeing. I was covering aviation then, and it was a blatant pitch. And doing it in Indian soil, asking for orders to be placed with the government, Air India and Indian Airlines that time. So this free market syndrome is under attack because of one way, the emergence of right-wing governments across the world. Second, also economy being under pressure. Okay. So people are looking inwards. Government of India started this Atmanirbhar project, and it has its set of ridicule, it has its sets of accolades, but it's an idea which needs to be examined, and it's work in progress. Okay. So in that context, this particular piece was absolutely avoidable.
Right.
So journalistically, we can call it a flip and flop, but any government which is looking at challenges on the security front, on the economic sovereignty front, has to address those challenges. We have gone after China manifestly in attacking some of those companies here, though the trade with China has increasingly been on the rise. So should we tackle that right away along with the border challenge? That's something that we have to look at. Right. Coming specifically to this particular problem, I for one believe that we should not move a micron away from liberalization. Okay. I mean, the moment we call a licensed Raj, India is doing great disservice to itself.
Absolutely. It takes you back to 1991.
I go back to 1991 speech of Dr. Manmohan Singh, then finance minister. He said, we are opening our doors and windows, akin to what Mahatma Gandhi said. And he did say that, now 91 and we are at 2023. He did make a claim and promises that we will be a developed or a developing economy. We may not have reached there, but let's not undermine the fruits of liberalization. Let's not undermine the fruits of privatization that Vajpayee did, being a coalition government. Right. So there's a lot of learning. Mr. Modi is seen to be a strong, leader. It doesn't mean that, such actions need to be taken. I'm happy they've withdrawn. But there are three key messages. Why was it done? To promote local manufacturing. So if it is linked,
but were we ready for it? Were we ready for local manufacturing?
We were not ready for it, and there is a Chinese threat. Now, if you put a blanket ban, you not only, you may or may not be able to kill the Chinese threat, but you are antagonizing the whole set of other manufacturers, including US, which is which you are building as a trusted ally in every particular aspect, and they are reciprocating that. So how do you bring a blanket ban and create an imagery that you're going back to license?
To the government, it never, called it a blanket ban. Yeah. And in many of its own defenses,
when you use the word security threat, so the premise was security threat. The second was promoting local manufacturing.
Right.
These were the two key key pillars.
Of course, and trusted partners, import from trusted partners.
Yeah.
So I think the government in its own defense had come out multiple times stating very clearly that we just need to be in the know. We just want to make sure that the brands which are being imported are coming from trusted partners. I don't know, by trusted partners they meant trusted countries, or they meant trusted laptop making brands,
so
vendors,
they have an origin
etc.
in a country.
Right.
Now look at one is the sentiment, the template. The other one is the business impact. See, we are a consumption-driven story when the whole world is facing consumption stress.
Yeah.
So, if the business cycle is in the growth phase, however small, you are putting a stamp on it. You are not allowing it to grow. I mean, laptops, desktops, these are essentials for today's India growth story.
Absolutely.
Whether you're a student, you're a professional, you're a doctor, you need it. You need to, use business as a business tool.
So tell me something, Rakesh. I don't know, I don't want to jump the gun and sound, slanderous on the government, but do you think this was at some level when the government would have thought about this policy, given statements, initiated the policy back in August this year? Do you think this was some sort of a way that the government was trying to arm twist manufacturers to set up shop in India? Was this arm twisting more done in the garb of preventing Chinese goods to flow into India? And there could have been many other tools to deploy that. So at one level, arm twisting, getting manufacturing to come into India, and at another level, for the PLI report card to show more green marks than red marks.
To look healthier.
Yeah.
No, see, as I keep saying, as a student of watching bureaucracy and political, that connection, the cusp, I think what happens is that this overreach happens on both sides. There is a political intent. The political intent in this case is very clear. We want to go after anyone who is threatening India's security, either on the border or on the economic front.
Right.
But if the guy who is executing that, the order, the tone, the tenor, the articulation, there is an overreach at times.
So I feel, Rakesh,
my sense, I don't have information independently, is that this was a bureaucratic overreach.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. I just feel that for any sort of manufacturing to happen or any new industry to come into India or any country for that matter, the approach has to be organic. The partner has to see value in what you bring to the table. We've seen the success of smartphones. Smartphones, the technology is honestly not very different from tablets. They're just bigger screens. They work on the same circuitry, the same communication tools, similar apps servicing both. However, in the case of laptops, we don't even have the fabs which go into the semiconductors which power up the motherboard of computers of all kinds. PC
embedded laptops and PCs is a grave security challenge.
I agree, but then so are smartphones.
I know, but smartphones, now the Chinese market share has come down significantly.
I agree. I'm saying, restricting Chinese imports and being brave enough to mention that we are imposing import restrictions from a country called China has a great political message in any case built in.
No, it's a difficult area, Karthik. It's a difficult area. Again, I mean, I am a votary of...
We did it with Chinese apps.
We did it with apps, but apps, don't have that much of a messaging. We haven't done it with the overall trade piece. We still, continue to import, which are relevant to us.
We are going on record saying we don't want to, settle Russian oil trade using Chinese yuan. We've gone and banned multiple Chinese apps. If I remember, 60 in the first tranche, 40 plus in the second, more than 100 Chinese apps.
I would still call that a minimal piece. It's a minimalist approach in terms of sending the messages.
And in any case, manufacturing is moving from China to India. The China plus one.
Early days.
But we've seen that in smartphones already. I mean, the government could have just waited for the organic
I'm not standing
approach.
for government, but I feel that, they understood that this has sent a larger external shock. I don't think they weren't too much by the domestic, backlash. They're more worried about external imagery. Mr. Modi is very keen to emerge as someone, and he's already emerged as a global statesman. In that sense, I think global businesses coming and saying that, oh, what is this? Please tell us, whispering.
Could it have been pressure from the US?
It is.
Biden was due to discuss this with Modi when he was here for G20.
If you are, I mentioned that and I articulated that if you are causing up to America and they're causing up to you every 24/7, how can you bring in this blanket security even if you don't state it upfront?
Absolutely.